Today, I'd like to talk about one of the biggest opportunities and one of the biggest risks I see facing financial advisors who want to work with more doctor clients. It's artificial intelligence, AI. Every week, I hear another advisor tell me, I used ChatGPT to write an email, or AI helped me brainstorm a webinar, or I asked AI to help me develop a marketing campaign. I love hearing those stories. But I'm also beginning to notice two very different and equally dangerous mistakes. The first group refuses to use AI at all. The second group gives AI far too much authority. Neither approach will help you become the go-to financial advisor for doctors. Instead, I believe the future belongs to advisors who understand one simple principle. AI is your thought partner, not your substitute CEO. If we've not met, I'm Dr. Vicki Rackner. I call on my experience as a practicing surgeon to help financial advisors attract, engage, and serve more doctor clients. All right, so let's dive into the two big mistakes I see advisors make. Here's the first mistake. Some advisors have decided they simply aren't going to use AI. Maybe it feels overwhelming, or maybe it feels intimidating. Maybe they're worried it will replace them, and I get it. Every major technological shift creates uncertainty. When electronic medical records first arrived, many physicians resisted them. Today, it's almost impossible to imagine practicing medicine without them. I think AI represents a similar moment. The advisors who refuse to use AI are walking away from one of the greatest thinking tools we've ever had. Now notice, I didn't call it an information tool. I called it a thinking tool. I use AI nearly every day, not because I expect it to think for me, but because it helps me think better. It helps me brainstorm, challenge my assumptions, see into my blind spots, generate alternatives, and organize information. Most importantly, it helps me ask better questions. Last week, I talked about using AI to investigate groups of your people, the doctors that you are going to serve. This kind of intelligence could potentially save you months or even years to get yourself established within your people. So rather than falling in love with an idea, AI helps you run the numbers. It estimates the market size. It can identify organizations, discover barriers to entry, and generate marketing ideas. That's exactly what a great thought partner should do. Now let's talk about a second mistake. And honestly, this one concerns me more. Don't accidentally promote AI to your CEO. Some advisors ask AI a question. They receive an answer and immediately begin implementing it, as though AI has become the CEO of their business. Here's the problem. AI does not know your strengths. It does not know your values. It does not know your reputation or your clients or your history. And perhaps most importantly, it doesn't recognize significance in the way experienced professionals do. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, when I was still a practicing surgeon, I met with a patient who had been referred to me for what appeared to be a routine hernia repair. The consultation went well. I examined him, we discussed the operation, and I answered all of his questions. So the visit was over. I stood up and started walking out of the door. Then out of the corner of my eye, I noticed something. The patient removed his baseball cap, slipped something under it, and then carefully repositioned the cap. I stopped and turned around. I stopped. I turned around. I asked, "What's under your cap?" He hesitated. Then slowly he removed it, and underneath was a large growth about the size of a mandarin orange. In that instant, everything changed. The hernia wasn't his biggest problem anymore, the mass was. Our treatment plan changed completely. I thought about that encounter many times over the years, not because I was smarter than anyone else, but because experience had taught me to notice things that don't fit into the pattern. I had to wonder how many doctors had examined that patient. Now, the tumor wasn't hidden, it was simply overlooked by somebody who didn't yet know it mattered. Experience changed what I saw. The best financial advisors do exactly the same thing. The physician casually says, "Oh, I'm exhausted." Another hesitates before answering a question. Someone laughs when talking about retirement, but something feels different. Another client says, "Well, I'm thinking about cutting back." Most people hear the words. Great advisors hear the meaning. They recognize what is not being said. They connect dots. Sometimes one passing comment changes the direction of an entire financial plan. That's not information. That's judgment. That's discernment. That's leadership. AI doesn't possess that kind of wisdom, at least not today, and maybe never. Let me give you another example. One of my coaching clients, Jonathan, has made his mission to help doctors. After surviving a heart attack, he wanted to give something back to the doctors who cared for him. So he began giving physicians copies of my book. During one of our coaching sessions, we had AI open on the screen. We were brainstorming marketing ideas. AI generated one suggestion after another. Some were good, some were interesting. Then Jonathan casually mentioned something his wife had observed. Let me give you another example. One of my coaching clients, Jonathan, has made it his mission to help physicians. After surviving a heart attack, he wanted to give something back to the doctors who cared for him. So he began giving physicians copies of my book, The 9 Money Mistakes Doctors Make. During one of our coaching sessions, we had AI open on the screen, and we were brainstorming marketing ideas. What happens after the doctor gets the book? AI generated one suggestion after another. Some were good, some were interesting. Then Jonathan casually mentioned something. His wife was actually distributing the books, and when she handed them to doctors, many of them said, "Oh, I gotta read this." Well, the next logical step was to have Jonathan's wife follow up with these doctors. "I know that you were interested in reading the book. What did you think? What kinds of questions did you have?" Jonathan almost moved on. This was just one of those incidental things that he said, but I didn't. Something about that sentence caught my attention, not because AI highlighted it, not because it appeared in bold type, because years of working told me it mattered. So I asked another question. Who actually handed out the books? Jonathan smiled. "My wife." "Tell me about her," I asked. Well, it turns out she is just a vivacious, outgoing person. She loves meeting people. She starts conversations effortlessly. She's the kind of person who can make people feel comfortable almost immediately. Suddenly, I wasn't thinking about the books anymore. I was thinking about teams. Maybe Jonathan doesn't need to be the one opening every door. Maybe his wife has a natural gift for introductions, and the three of us should sit down and talk about what happens after the books are given away. That one observation could fundamentally change how they built their business. AI never suggested that. Not because AI isn't intelligent, because AI wasn't experiencing the conversation the way an experienced coach does. It didn't recognize significance. Here's another way to think about it. AI is extraordinarily good at optimization. You're responsible for prioritization. AI can generate 50 marketing ideas. You decide which one deserves your attention. AI can write a blog post. You decide whether it reflects your voice and communicates the message you want to put out there. AI can recommend a strategy. You decide whether it fits your business and your strength. AI can summarize research. You decide whether the conclusion makes sense. That's leadership. That's why you're the CEO. Too many people frame this discussion as though humans and AI are competing. I don't see it that way. I think the future belongs to advisors who know how to combine the strengths of both. Use AI to expand your thinking. Use AI to generate options. Use AI to challenge your assumptions. Use AI to argue the opposite side. Use AI to help you see into blind spots. Then step away. Think, reflect, evaluate, prioritize, decide. I sort of think of AI as my R2-D2. I recently watched the Star Wars movies. R2-D2 could give information. It communicated ideas. In fact, R2-D2 was, in essence, the hero of the Star Wars story. AI can be your own R2-D2. Don't let AI step into the leadership role. You are the CEO of your company. Never outsource leadership. I will also remind you that today's physicians don't need more information. Information is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. What they need is somebody who helps them make wise decisions in the face of uncertainty. That's why they hire financial advisors. Not because financial advisors know more facts, because advisors exercise better judgment. Ironically, the more capable AI becomes, the more valuable human judgment becomes. That is your competitive advantage. Not information, discernment. I'd like to leave you with a challenge. The next time you open ChatGPT, don't ask, "What should I do?" Instead ask, "What haven't I considered?" Or challenge my assumptions. Or what's the strongest argument against this idea? Or what information am I missing? Or if you were trying to prove me wrong, what would you say? That's how CEOs use advisors. And that's how you can and should use AI. To help you do exactly that, I've created a free guide called the CEO Decision Filter. 8 questions every financial advisor should ask before following AI's advice. Follow the link in the show notes to download this special report. And if you like this video, there's more like it. Go here to get more information about how to attract, engage, and serve more doctor clients, and I'll see you on the other side.